Good morning, everybody. Welcome in to another edition of Also Eligible. Joe Quills here with you alongside Frank. Frank, welcome in. Oh,
I always forget
there
it
you go.
each and every time. Thanks for having me again, Joe.
Not a problem. I do that all the time too, so don't worry about it. It's summer, and it's officially summer because Saratoga opened up on Thursday. And
Finally.
yeah, and the other piece of summer will be starting next Saturday with Del Mar, even though we won't look at that next week. But another summer is here, another summer at Saratoga at the spa, and hopefully we can get some winners for everybody out there today.
We got 8 weeks, not 6, right?
Yeah,
At
8 weeks,
Saratoga.
5 days. Yeah, it used
40,
to be
40 days and 40 nights. It's a beautiful thing.
yeah, yeah, and it used to be 7 weeks, 6 days, and then they changed it to 5 days a week, six for 8 weeks. So
Definitely my favorite time of the year. Saratoga. Then
yeah,
next week we add in Del Mar. We got action every day. It's beautiful.
yeah. And we'll be looking a lot at Saratoga over the next 6 weeks, 7 weeks. We'll be looking at Del Mar. Next week we'll be looking at Monmouth because it's Haskell Day. A lot of summer racing coming up, and hopefully we'll be picking winners for you here on Also Eligible. And you can catch us on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitch, on X. I got X up on a second screen here, uh, so if somebody chats in there and it doesn't pick up on my comment board here, that's fine. I'll still see it. I just won't be able to uh, highlight it like I like to do on my shows. Um, so I do have a bit of a news here coming into the show, and this is Saratoga related, and it is regarding Mystic Dan, the Derby winner, and he was light training in New York, but Kenny McPeak, the trainer of the Derby winning horse, uh, he will most likely not race in the Travers because he's moved him from Saratoga back to Kenny McPeak's home base in Kentucky. Um, just to get the regular groom, the regular rider, everything like that. He said. Um, Now he was scoped after the race, after the Belmont. Did have some mucus in his lungs and had been light training ever since. Um, and part of the reason why he says this, and I'm not sure if you agree with this or not. I mean, it is hard to win the Travers any any which way, but the hard part about the Travers is that a mile and a quarter without a prep race. So so that could be what he's thinking, but yeah, he's the trainer. I'm just a guy that talks about horses, so I'm not going to question any move he makes. But
We'll have to
for
see. We'll have to see what
yeah,
happens there.
yeah, and what may happen as well, it may bring his superstar filly. I'm calling her superstar, Torpedo Anna. She runs next weekend into CCA Oaks at Saratoga. She may be entered against the boys in the Travers.
Really.
Yeah, and they were talking about it on America's America's Date the Races on Fox, the Fox network of channels, and they were saying that no filly has won since the 1910s.
Oh, shit.
So, but probably back in those days, kind of like the way things are everywhere else around the world, trainers aren't afraid of racing the girls against the boys. So it might have been much different back then, but she may run against the boys um, in the Travers, and that race may prove my point as a hot take or an extreme cold take that I think she's the best 3-year-old boy or girl right now. So, but it is looking like Kenny McPeak is targeting the Pennsylvania Derby for Mystic Dan. Now, I was thinking the way Mystic Dan wins his races, which is usually just riding the rail. It could be it could be hit and miss with the Pennsylvania Derby in terms of winning because that rail at Parks is always dead. So,
He
but
definitely likes to win on the lead.
yeah, he's at or near the lead. He's riding the rail, takes the least. Sometimes the best thing is to take the least distance around the track. But that's the update we have on Mystic Dan. Unlikely to run in the Travers, more likely to run a Pennsylvania Derby, which is good for me because I'll be there that day, more than likely, unless it's another hurricane that's going through the area like last
What's the
year.
date? What's the date on that one?
PA Derby is September 21st.
Nice.
Yeah, and the way it's been landing the last few years, it's always been at the end of my birthday vacation. So
And I haven't been out to Parks yet. It's probably only an hour away, and I haven't made it
yeah,
there.
yeah, and I'll just warn you, it'll be packed that day, as you expect. Not as packed as what I would expect on a typical day at Saratoga, where we will be, and we will look at these three races here. Um, Now, unlike 2 weeks ago when Frank was with me here, um, we got lucky that we had four races back to back, and we were able to do all kinds of stuff like, oh, well, this is my pick four, this is that. We're a little disjointed today with these three races, and that's okay because you know not everything goes the way that we want to do it here at Also Eligible, and that's fine. But we have three races here coming today. Um, we have the Kelso, which will be race two on the card. It's an early race. Naira likes to have these early races with the short fields. They like to put them as early on the card as possible. And then we will have
Hey, why
uh, the
why do you think that is? Because they want a lot of horses for the pick five, right? So they
yeah,
throw it
the
early.
late one,
Yep.
because I think I, if I'm not mistaken, and those that are watching right now on the platform, the Bleach Brother platforms. If I'm wrong, feel free to let me know in chat. I am keeping an eye on the chat as well. And I may be confusing New York with California. So if I have this wrong, feel free to tell me I'm wrong. I believe the takeout on the early pick five is less than the late pick five, but don't completely quote me on that. I know that's the case in California. I know that's the case because Jason Bean says that a couple of times in his podcast in the past, but I think that's the case in New York. I'm not sure.
I think it's 15%, but I need to.
Yeah,
They don't really
but
make it easy to find out, do they?
yeah, it's not easy. It's not as easy as it used to be, especially now with you can complain about everything on Twitter and Facebook and everything else in a moment's notice. I know I'm guilty of it. Even when not even really talking about certain things. Like one time I complained about my bank and didn't even quote them. They replied to me within 3 minutes. I'm like, are you just sitting there waiting for people to respond? But you know, but uh, but if I'm wrong, it won't be the first time I'll be wrong today. I'll probably be wrong 11 times with these races, and I may be wrong about another 50 times on other things. But that's a great thing here. You guys can interact with us here on our platforms on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and X. So let's get to the races here. We have three races that we're going to look at. Let's start with the early one, which is the Kelso, which is going um, a mile on the turf. The scratches are not in yet, at least not on the daily racing form as of yet. It'll fill in as I go along here on the program here, but
It's usually like
um,
10:30. Andy
yeah,
Sterling usually lists them on X.
yeah, yeah, and and the way that these daily racing form programs that I use on the directly from the website, it'll fill in as we go along. So it's happened to us a couple of times in the past where we're talking, and the next thing you know, it's like, forget what I said about the four horse because that just got
Hmm.
scratched. But
But
it happens.
the good news is yesterday I think a lot of races came off the turf and they were trying to save the course. So I think today it's looking pretty dry up there. It was only like 10-20% chance of a shower. So I think we're going to be on
Yeah,
the turf for all of them today.
yeah, the turf is firm. Um,
Yeah,
they
so
do
that's
they,
good.
they at least have that on there. So um, yeah, they were off the turf on Thursday. Um, they did have a turf race yesterday, which was my feature race, and I'm reading the races pretty well so far. It's just that my horses haven't won. Um, you know, had a couple of seconds. The opening day, the feature race I looked at, the horse finished second to a 45 to 1 shot. I had like a 7 to 1 shot, which I was hoping would be 20 to 1, but there were a bunch of scratches despite the firm turf course. And, you know,
I
it's
haven't
just
had
that,
I haven't had many winners yet easy. I've been playing on some head
yeah,
to heads online,
yeah,
and I haven't really scored so well just yet. But we're gonna get
yeah,
lots of winners for you guys today.
yeah. And, sometimes you get in these ruts where you don't win, and it's okay. Just don't go chasing money. Always be careful of your money. I'm
Take,
always careful, and even when we get to football season and my Thursday night shows, I make my football picks. There will be weekends that I will tell you, for example, it's rent week. These are the picks I would play, but I'm not playing because there's more important things than gambling. But
take it slow.
well,
Let it come to you. Take it slow.
yeah, yeah.
We
So
got plenty of time.
yeah, so but that's in September on my show, the Joe Quill Show, which is Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday right now. We're eventually going to add Wednesdays, but we're going to get to these races here. First race is the second race on the card, and from all indications here, we can scratch the six. Repo Rocks, who is a main track only entrant. Now, it's unofficial yet, but I think it's pretty official with the fact that they are saying that the turf is firm, which is no surprise because this time of the year you could take a ton of rain and turf anywhere in North America will bounce back within 24 hours in most cases, unless there's a major hurricane. But we are looking at a field of five. Now, granted, it's a small field, and I try to avoid the small fields for the most part. But when you look at this race here, you got five horses here, and you got four horses that have a chance of winning here, which probably means the one "Call Me Harry" will be the winner. but um, but looking at this race here, favored is the two Mysterious Knight, who ran first time in North America last. No, first time in North America this year, I should say, because he has run a couple of times in the past. Ran at Saratoga last year, and he finished second. Had some traffic trouble. Did close well. Lost to a length by a length to Ice Chocolat at 24 to 1 on Belmont Day at Saratoga, and that's a horse that I'm looking at here in this race, Frank. And I don't know how you feel about that horse.
Yeah, just he has a great trainer, Charles Appleby. I guess he's
Yeah.
from Britain or whatever. He's got Pratt's on the horse. Buick's been riding the horse forever, but Pratt's first time on the horse. The horse definitely just gonna probably sit right off the pace. One thing I just wanted to note for people that might not know, if you look at like the time form rating, you see some
Yeah.
of these speed figures down here. It says like 117. Like my buddies always taught me that you just deduct like 16 points off of there. So that
Okay.
117 is like a 101. That 114 becomes a 98. So that's how the speed figures are comparable.
Yeah. Yeah. And I always take 10 to 15 off mentally. I'm not.
Yeah.
Even if I have the program in paper form, I'm not going and writing 102 for that 117 or anything like that. It's like, okay, it's a good guide, and you just gotta uh, adjust accordingly on that. So that's a good tip for everybody out there. If you're looking at a daily racing form right now, you can see that the time form rating is a little bit different, but it's okay. And
15,
also,
16 points. It's negotiable.
yeah, yeah,
Debatable.
I go at least 10. I just use it as a guide, and the even the buyer speed figures I use it as a guide, but it's not end all be all with me. Um, the 5 Carl Spackler here um, had a rare dud here last time out. The same race because you got three of the. Oh wait, um, scratches did come in. Scratch Mysterious Night, and and
Oh shit.
like I said to Frank earlier today, did I say it on the show or did I say it before the show? But whatever I said we have these moments where we start talking about a horse, and it's like, oh crap,
And
he or she is scratched. So
now I gotta fix on the fly here because I was gonna go with the. I won't tell you yet.
yeah, I was going with the two, and when I share my Quills Picks winners article, I will have to uh, put an addendum on there, take whatever horse um, on there. So, but the two is out. And Charles Appleby, he did scratch a heavy favorite yesterday in the feature race on the turf to run against the boys. This horse has beaten the boys in Dubai, but that's something for tomorrow's article. But um, maybe have some other plans here for Mysterious Night. Hopefully, it's just a situation where, uh, it's just, I don't feel like running in this race. And hopefully it's not any type of an injury or anything like that because we don't want these horses getting injured. Um, so with these other two, we have two um,
Just
co-favorites here. I'm
just
sorry,
looks
guys.
like I'm sorry. It looks like the 4 with Irad Ortiz. He's the speed. He's probably going to go out to the lead, and I think Carler Spackler just sits right off the pace. And my pick's going to be Spackler on the 5. I was going to go 5-2 exacta, but the 5 is scratched, so maybe just go 5 to win, or maybe just 5-4 straight, and see if
Yeah,
we can't pick up $4 or $5 on the exacta.
yeah,
100 times, of
and
course.
yeah, and I'm looking at this right now as I'm going on the fly as well. Um, it looks like the 3 and the 4 could go in the lead, and um, if one of the Ortiz brothers doesn't go for the lead, I wouldn't be surprised if the other just walks the dog on the front end here. It wouldn't surprise me, um, but I'm just because I want to be different. I'll go with Talk of the Nation to 4 here. It does have the ability of coming from off the pace, and this is one of these races where you just don't know what the pace is going to be because it's such a short field, and also the fact you know and also even when they're entered in the next race, it's like, what do we make of this race because of the fact that it's such a small field that got even smaller with that scratch.
Yeah, it would have been more interesting with the two in there for sure. But
Yeah,
it is what it is. We'll just be happy we're watching Saratoga.
yeah, yeah. And every once in a while, you have a race here where these horses, where you have a race with a short field. It's everything with going from the breeding and everything. There's less horses that are in the, um, for lack of a better term, the pool of horses that actually get to go to the racetrack and get to that point. So, but that's what we're looking at here. I'm going with the Ford Talk of the Nation. That'll be updated once I post the article after the show. It'll drop at 11 a.m. on BleacherBrothers.com. Frank is going with the five,
That's it.
and
One of us is going to win. I hope. That's where.
yeah, and like I said before, when we first introduced this race, when the two was not yet officially scratched, because I said this is an all but one race. The but one will probably win, which is the one. But but
It
we're having fun here.
looks like
That's
the
that's
three is
all.
a notch, just a notch below.
Yeah,
That's what I'm
yeah,
kind
and
of.
and the
Yeah.
one is a notch or two below that even.
Yep.
But
Um,
so I'm on the four after the scratch. Frank's on the five. We were both on the two apparently, and he was scratched. Um, so then we go to the 10th race, and I am going to go on a tangent here, and this is a tangent that um, this is a tangent that I catch before I start here. We got the Diana here coming up, and did you know that that 39 years ago today, Live Aid occurred in London and in Philadelphia?
and you're making me feel old, man, because I remember that.
I remember too, and I'm old. But then again, on top of it, I do have the Live Aid album. Um, the
What was
Ford.
that?
I
We
don't.
are the world. Ma, you should sing a little bit for me, man.
No, you don't want that. No. A couple years ago, they came out with the Live Aid album, which is all the performances from the show. It's like 120 tracks. It's available on Spotify and wherever you get music. Um, just a little fun fact there. The reason why I said that is because I go from Diana to Dirty Diana to Michael Jackson, who was on the "We Are the World" song. So the original "We Are the World" song. So yeah, but little 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 pop culture for you guys, just to show how old we are, especially me, and how much I have um, so much useless information in my head. But but we go to, in all seriousness, back to horse racing, the Diana, and they're going 9 furlongs on the turf. And I didn't realize this at first. When I was looking at the stories this morning on Daily Racing Form, this is basically the Chad Brown Invitational, as he has 5 of the 10 horses in the race.
Yeah, I was counting that up before. I guess he was trying to win this one, huh?
Well, he already is the winningest trainer of this race, having won this race 8 times in the past. So he's going for number 9 today, and he's got a 50% shot here, so to speak. If you, I don't know how lazy that math is, but I mean it is 5 of 10. But if you think about 10 times 9 times 8, actually, but truthfully, you do have five. Um, you have five fillies in there, that fillies and mares that he has in this race here. Um, Now the only scratch is the main track only, the 11, obviously, because they're on the turf. Um, and I kind of looked at a couple of these races on video last night because of the fact that some of these races, it's like whenever I see a trouble line, I look at it. But Diddy is the favorite to 4. Won the New York Grade 1 mile and 3/16. I don't know how you feel about her today, Frank.
Well, she's 11 for 15 on the turf. She's got improving speed
Yeah.
figures, and she has improving speed figures all the way up to when she's 6 years old. It's just like a straight
Mhm.
line.
Yeah.
Usually, you figure up till 6 you'd be slowing down, but
Mhm.
Uh, yeah, she's 1 for 1 at Saratoga, 2 for 2 at the distance. I don't know. I think we're gonna try to beat her today.
Yeah. And now one horse I looked at that, this may be, now this is not my pick, but I could see potentially some horses going to the front. The 9 is a front runner. Um, let's see who else. The 6 White Beam, I think that could be on the lead. Um, so we could get a speed duel up front. One horse I'm looking at that could close well and might be at a huge price is Nisi Marie. Um, that is a Parks local trainer, Butch Reed, who, um, he's winning 14% on the year. This horse just missed into Grade One, New York. Uh, just actually won from off the pace in the Grade Three Bogey. Um,
Seven
now,
for
there,
eight in the money on the turf.
yeah, yeah, and you know the one thing I'd like is, except for that one race in the Mrs. Revere, which was off the turf, this is a consistent closer. And, you know, even if you're a consistent front runner, one thing I like, um, even when these older horses, I like the consistency in these horses to do the same thing over and over again. And,
Another one closing probably be Chili Flag.
yep. And that's mentioned in the article as well. Um, she she probably has the best kick in the field. Um, she's won 3 in a row, having won at Gulfstream in March, then won at Churchill on Kentucky Derby weekend, and then won at Saratoga last month in the Just a Game. That may be the horse that wins this year.
And she won 4 out of the last 5. Um, only problem is now when you're coming off the pace, like you definitely need a perfect trip. You can't
Yeah.
get stuck behind horses or
Yeah.
anything. That's the only reason. Since she won the last 4 out of 5, I'm going to go against her also. Against the four,
Okay.
against the 10. I'm going to go with White Beam, who I think one of Chad Brown's 5 entries. But she just missed her last race in the Grade One, beaten by Chili Flag. And I don't know. I'm looking for White Beam to get up near the lead and keep
Yeah.
running this time. And
Yeah.
also because it's on the inner turf,
Mhm.
I like a horse that because the tighter turns on the inner turf. So I think she'll be up near the front with the tighter turns. I hope she can get it
Yeah.
done.
Yeah, and that's a good point that you're making, that this is on the inner turf because um the inner turf is a is 7 furlongs around, so obviously, the tighter turns, and even on those days during the week, no matter what track you look at, the key to look at in a lot of these turf races is how far out the rail is, because you got r- less space to maneuver left to right. So you get boxed in a lot of times. Or my horse I selected in yesterday's race, it got leaned on the whole time and couldn't get free of the horse that was leaning on her the whole time. There's just less room, and I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong because I don't know. Have you been up to Saratoga before?
Yeah, every year we go at least a week, usually for
Okay.
Travers.
Okay. Yeah, because the one thing I question is, not only obviously it's smaller circumference because it's the innermost track of the 3. Is it and maybe I just need to look at Google Maps to prove myself wrong. But is the is the inner turf, at least it looks like it on TV, is the inner turf more narrow than the outer turf, or is it just me,
I
my
don't.
my mind hallucinating?
I'll have to take a look this afternoon and check it
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, so those that are watching, and feel free to comment uh, below. Um, the one thing I will say is it's probably just me hallucinating, and I will probably pull up Google Maps sometime this afternoon, and I will give it a look at it. And it probably is the same width. It just, with the low camera and everything like that, it may just be that I'm just going nuts, and that's perfectly fine. You know, I mean, but not completely nuts where I'm losing all my marbles like some people. Uh, but
You're
but
doing fine,
uh,
Joe.
yeah. So Frank is on the 6. I am on the 10 chili flag, and the one reason why I like about chili flag is I think, and I probably won't get uh, the extra odds, get it float up a little bit. I'm just thinking that maybe people pass up on her because they think that she's a mile horse, but she has won at a mile and an eighth before as well. So I'm hoping that not many people look at this horse as a 9 furlong horse. I think she is, and I think she wins this race as well. So Frank goes with the 6, which is I don't hold on.
Yeah, she's 0 for 1, Chili Flag, at a mile and an eighth, but she only lost by a nose. So
Yeah, she lost by a nose. That's right. Okay, so yeah, so the numbers do blend in together with me, but that was a good prep race. I got her back on the winning track there. So I went in. You know, she closed well in that race, and she should be fine going 9 furlongs today.
I'm sure she'll be close with Irad. She'll be
Yeah,
up there.
yeah. And then we go to the Sanford, which is a 2-year-old race, and I was looking at videos like you wouldn't believe last night. 2-year-olds going 6 furlongs, and we do have a scratch here. The one Menti is scratched, so the favorite is out. So we still have 7 horses going here, 7 colts and geldings here. And I'm just looking here because, uh,
The one's out, huh? All right.
yeah, yeah. So we got 7 horses here, and that does take away some of the speed here in the race because I believe that was one of my speed horses I was looking at here. Yeah, yeah. That horse Menti, that horse just took off in his debut at Aqueduct and won. He was well ahead, and then it said here confident handling, but I looked at that race. He wasn't getting tired, but I think that confident handling almost cost him the race. But that's just me. So,
And he was at
but
5 furlongs, and he was going to be stretching out to 6.
yeah,
And the way how he lost those 5 lengths, I don't know. I was going to try to beat him today, but he's not there.
yeah,
So
yeah. I was beating him too here. So right now the morning line favorite is going to the 6 Studley Do Right, and when I look at this race, I was looking to see because, this time of the year, and, I know my neighbor at where I used to live. One thing he always told me was I never play the 2-year-olds, but, everybody has their choice, and, I'm not going to go against you, but the one thing that I'm looking at is, the horses that can relax, horses that just go for the lead and gun for it. I think Studley Do Right today will have speed on the front end, and I think that Studley Do Right will do what he did in the Tremont the Thursday before the Belmont, and he'll settle off the pace again, and he will close. And I think he's my pick here, and I'm probably ruining the suspense of the race, but I like Studley Do Right in this race here.
yeah, he likes the track. He's 1 for 1, and he beat 3 Echoes by 2 lengths last time. And anyway, my horse that I'm going with is number 5, 3 Echoes, Pratt and Asmussen, the Ass
Yeah.
Man. How do you pronounce that? Asmussen, Asmussen.
Uh, I
You can
think
do
it's
it.
Asmussen. I'm not sure. I would have to hope that he wins a race and he gets interviewed by Acacia or
We
Maggie
like we
today.
like Acacia
Yeah,
for sure. But
yeah,
yeah, Pratt's second time on the horse. He's going to stay off the pace, and I don't know. I'm looking for him to turn the tides on your number 6 this time. So I'm going to go with
yeah,
number 5, improving speed figures, and
yeah.
he's going with the 5 to win. So I'm just going to do it this time around. It's going to do a double. So my pick for the show is the daily double. We're going to get race 10 to 6, race 11 to 5, straight double, 6-5.
Okay. And let me just make a note of that here because I'll probably mention it next week at the beginning of the show because next week, even though we're going to be focusing on Monmouth, um, you know, I I should be recapping our picks here. Uh, you know, but I could see the 5 winning here. Wasn't far off the pace. It was just that he he seemed to tire that race, and it's these are 2 year olds. You get all different things that are going here, and also Three Echoes for those that are a believer in weight differences, even as small as it is. Three Echoes does have 2 pounds less than Studley Do Right today. So if you're a believer in that, that may be an angle that you may want to do, may look at here. I know even though I'm picking Studley Do Right to win here, he may be a candidate to bounce going from a 61 to an 82. But also, you could say that maybe the track was juiced up a little bit because of the fact it was Belmont week that week. So, um, but you're looking at some of these horses here. Another horse I liked was Moplex the 8. The one thing I said in the article that'll drop in about 20 minutes is I think that if he doesn't get the lead, we'll get to see if he can stalk right behind the leaders with that outside post. Um, I don't know if you agree with me or not on that.
I'm
But
sorry, Will's good. I missed that one. I was thinking something.
oh no, no problem. I was just saying that the gate and Bowplex. Um, I think he goes for the lead, but if he doesn't get the lead, we'll get to see whether or not he can stalk right behind any speed duel that may occur on the front end here.
No, I definitely agree with you. It looks like the last race he won by 10, but it was just state breds made in 75,
Yeah,
so definitely a little bit lower class,
yeah,
but he'll definitely be up there near the lead for sure. Irad always has him in a good spot.
yeah, yeah. And both
And, then,
Ortiz brothers are
and just
are
one thing for maybe some novice horse players out there, like these are all 2 year olds, and they all turn 2 years old January 1st.
yeah,
So you can just like a big deal for 2 year old racing. Like I don't know how if a horse is born January, February, March, but sometimes like a 2 year old be born in May. Like lots
yeah,
of times I won't even play a 2 year old born in May because like he's 4 months. The other horses are 4 months more grown. They're building
yeah,
more muscle mass. So definitely when you look at 2 year old racing, I like horses January, February, March.
yeah.
But it's just a little thing I'll throw out there.
Yeah, especially this time of the year, um, because I know this analogy is used a lot where you're playing Little League Baseball and you're throwing that fastball and you're striking out everybody. And then all of a sudden, you're throwing that fastball just like you were 2 years later, and then everybody catches up. So it happens in youth sports where some people get that growth spurt sooner, some get it later. You know, that's why a lot of times these Kentucky Derby horses they are primed for the March and April races because that's when they're really starting to mature, and also a lot of these trainers, these top-notch trainers, they gear towards those biggest of the prep races. So, you know, that's a good point that you make. That and on the daily racing form, it's very good on there. It tells you, um, like for example, Baby Dukes, because that's right in the middle of my screen here. It's a Bay Colt 2 year olds, and in parentheses it'll say April. So,
Yep, two in
look,
April.
be a little worried about that, but like Mr. Squeaky Wheels won at Presque Isle. 2-year-old January, uh, soon to be king 2-year-old February, Three Echoes March, Studley Do Right March, War Tax February. And the thing is, they these breeders have it down to a science where they make sure these horses drop when they want it to drop.
Yeah,
Make
they want
sure
them
it.
born at the exact perfect time, so they're
Yeah,
at their
yeah,
full body mass or whatever, and they're growing, and
yeah,
so they can be primed up for their 3-year-old campaign.
yeah,
So they want them. They want them born in certain months for sure.
yeah,
There's a lot of studying going on. I don't know how many years of gestation period. I mean, how many months of gestation period, whatever the hell it's called. I don't know
yeah.
when they're doing all their studying, but I'm sure it's at the
Uh,
same time every year.
it is, and I actually looked it up on Google, and the gestation period is 11 to 12 months.
So just a year out, eh? So they're having winter fun.
Yeah, yeah. So a horse has a lifespan of 25 to 30 years. Um, the Encyclopedia of Life says the mass of a horse is 930 pounds. Can go up to 44 miles an hour. But
Oh wow.
some of the little things that you know.
When are they
So
fully grown? 4 into 5? Probably like end of their 4.
probably, yeah, yeah, because a lot of these horses, I wouldn't be surprised with the three Triple Crown winners this year. Because they have the title of winning the Kentucky Derby, winning the Preakness, winning the Belmont. I wouldn't be surprised if any of those three horses at the end of the year gets retired so they can go to stud duty so they can make more money off of that horse. I mean, the breeders would be making money off the horse with um, with the added glory of winning one of the Triple Crown races.
Yeah, they don't waste much time. They send them right to stud. What was that
Yeah.
flight line last year or the year before? I
Hmm.
forget.
Yeah.
You figure you would love to watch that horse race for a bunch more
Yeah.
years, but that's it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I did see that Rich Strike, who won the Derby 2 years ago at 80 to 1. That horse where my buddy and I are sitting at the sports book at Harris Philly, because we're like, all right, well, if we go upstairs, we don't have to deal with all the crowd here. We can watch it here. So we watch the race there. And my buddy and I go to my buddy, was that the two? No, it was the 21. We're not used to seeing a 21 saddle cow, but to go back to my story, Rich Strike was on the workout tab at Saratoga in the last week or two, and he is now under Bill Mott's care.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, so he did change hands, and they're trying to get him back to the races. Whether he does or not, we'll see. But it's worth a shot. And that's one of those rare horses that wins a Triple Crown race and is still around for 4 and even 5-year-old years, especially if they are still a colt or a horse as opposed to a gelding. Where gelding, what are you going to do with the horse other than run them? And maybe do some aftercare things.
yeah.
Um, but you know, you know what I'm saying.
I hear you.
Hmm.
All right, so we got yeah. I don't know. I'm on the 5 for sure. We're going with Asmussen.
Okay, and I'm going with the what did I say? Studley Do Right. So
You got the
yeah,
6.
I'm going to be eating chalk there. So I am going with a double here. I am going with Chili Flag to 10, and I am going with the 6 Studley Do Right.
You got
So
10-6. I got 6-5. All
and
right.
it'll end up probably being it'll probably end up being 6-6 or 10-5.
Yeah, we each win one.
Yeah, so and that's the one thing you could do if you're at the racetrack, and sometimes, or you have the ADW platform, that whatever one you use, you can, even if you wanted to, you can go 6 and 10 with 5 and 6, and be like, okay, well, any combination of those horses will win me. either the 6 or the 10 on the first leg, the 5 or 6 on the second. You could do that as well. You don't necessarily have to do a cold double, which I like to play.
Yeah, yeah, it would have helped if the one was still in there, but now with the one being
Yeah,
out in the 11th race, it's going to pay a lot less.
yeah,
But
yeah, and you also have less options, and but it'd be an interesting race there, and uh, those races are, I believe, on FS1 today. Um, Sometimes they bounce around between
uh,
FS1 and FS2.
yeah, they love to change it. Yeah, all of a sudden you're watching
Yeah,
FS2, and then all of a sudden it's soccer from wherever.
yeah,
They just
Saudi Arabia.
yep out of nowhere. But yeah, they don't treat us
Yeah,
horse players very nice. They know we're committed and we're going to change the channel.
yeah, yeah, and a lot of times what they do is, like if it's on FS1, they'll have a baseball game at 4 o'clock, so they got to switch off. But at least, even if you're a person that does not have cable, starting next Saturday, they will have the races on regular Fox from 3 to 6 or something like that. So for
Yeah,
those that have cut the cord and do not even have FS1 or FS2 or FS8 de Ocho, um, you will be able to watch the Saturday races at Saratoga starting next week, and I think it's every week until the end of the meet, every Saturday till the end of the meet. So, but they do have that as well. So, um,
it's still going to be the Fox broadcast.
yeah, yeah. Fox has exclusive rights of Naira. I would say at least 5 years.
I
Yeah,
like that show. It's a good show.
yeah,
J.K. drives around on the golf cart and interviews
yeah, yeah.
all
Him and
the
Frankie Dettori yesterday did the Dettori leap after he wins races on the back of the cart.
no, it's definitely an
Yeah,
awesome show. I'm
yeah,
gonna put it on today.
yeah. I'll have it on the background while I'm doing things around the apartment, and hopefully we'll get some winners home for you guys today, and we'll be here every Saturday from 10 to 11 a.m. Sometimes longer, sometimes shorter, but um, we will get you some winners and hopefully uh, get some good banter going back and forth. Um, so next week we will be covering Monmouth Park, and I haven't seen the fields yet, or actually, I didn't even look. I should have looked ahead of time just to see who were the nominations for the race or anything like that. Um, but that's a big day down at the Jersey Shore.
Yeah, looking forward to next week for sure. Got everything.
Now, now,
Delmar opening week too.
yeah, actually Saturday is opening day.
Yeah, opening day
Yeah,
Delmar. Nothing better than that.
yeah, yeah, and we'll and I I actually started planning ahead. Um, and I looked at some of the Saturdays that I'm off from work. Got a got a bunch of great races here, and we could be going. Um, we could be adding to Delmar. We could be adding with a couple additional races. So for those that are watching, even though we're centric on Saratoga today, there are opportunities for us to look at like Colonial for the Arlington Million on August 10th. Um, the King's Plate at Woodbine on the 17th. Um, I'm a fan of the Canadian Triple Crown because I think that's even tougher than the American Triple Crown because you got to win on three different surfaces now. Um,
Now, I would love to
and
get up the Woodbine. It looks really pretty up there. I haven't
yeah,
been up there yet.
yeah, I haven't been there either, but that's definitely one of the places I want to go to.
One day when I go to
So
Parks, I gotta hit you up and come meet
yeah,
you.
yeah. Hopefully it'll be a day that I'm off that you go there. Uh, but because I do have my real job on the side. So,
What's their
but
regular racing schedule? Are they? I mean, I know lots of times they're racing Monday and Tuesdays, but
they're Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and they have the occasional Saturday. Of course, the Saturday that they return from their summer break, I'm working, which is the Smarty Jones Pennsylvania Derby preview day. Um, they have that, and then they have a couple of stakes races the following Monday. and then the Derby's on the 21st on the Saturday. They do sprinkle in an occasional Saturday because some people complain, oh, you just do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and the pandemic's over, but you know you want to make money, and the best way for them to make money is that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday
Yeah,
window.
it's hard for them to compete against Del Mar and Saratoga and
Hmm.
all the upper
Yeah,
top level tracks. So at least they're getting some handle Monday, Tuesday for sure.
yeah,
For
and
us,
especially
for the
yeah,
degenerates that need their fix. The
yeah,
one thing I have against Parks is that shitty, excuse my language, that pick five that they had going. I didn't realize that they didn't pay out the whole thing. It's
yeah,
a, I don't know, I don't know how the hell it works, but there,
yeah, yeah. Because I've done a couple of articles on the mandatory distributions that they had. Um, they the one thing I don't like about it, the pick five, is beyond the having the only ticket to win. Now, I understand that from many people that that bet on these races. I understand that. The one thing I don't like, and I think even if you did a regular pick five as opposed to the um, single ticket wager, the one thing I don't like is you have an early pick five and you have a late pick five. And the early pick five, when there's not one ticket, let's say there's 10, let's say there's 20, let's say there's zero, it goes to the last five. Personally, what I wish they would do is they would have an early pick five, like even if it was not single ticket, I wish they would do, like, for example, California and even New York. If nobody hits that early pick five, come back tomorrow and we'll have a monster pool in that early pick five. If nobody hits that late pick five at all, nobody on a regular pick five, put in the late pool. You know, I'm that's what I'm most not a fan about. But I know that I think differently than most people, and I understand everybody else's complaints about it being, like a 80-90% takeout because you're only getting a portion of what was bet on that particular day. But I understand. I understand what you're saying as well. So.
one time I was away betting at Gulfstream, and all of a sudden I'm alive in the pick five,
Hmm.
and then, I saw what my payouts were, and I was like, I thought I was going to win like 25 or 30 grand. Then all of a sudden it's paying like 2, 3 thousand, and
Yeah.
I didn't hit, but that was a learning experience. I didn't realize
Yeah.
that the pick five was structured that way
Yeah.
for parks anyway.
Yeah. A couple of years ago on closing day at Santa Anita, when they still had it as a Rainbow Six, I played it. I played the pick six because it was a mandatory, and I hit the first 5 races. And I had three races going there, and I'm sitting at the Sixers game that night, and I'm like, dude, I'm 5 for 5 here. I could get two, three, $4,000, and obviously, you wish was more, whatever. But my horse finished second, and I crashed and burned in that final race. But it is fun when you get to that final leg, whether it's
Oh
a
yeah,
pick four, pick five, pick six.
that's for
So
sure. That's what it's all about, making it to that last
yeah,
leg, and hopefully
yeah, and
you're alive with more than a single.
yeah, and I mean that happened with me when I was at Emerald Downs when I was on vacation in May over Memorial Day. Now, granted, it was only it was only paying the horse I wanted to win was only paying 500, but because a couple of scratches in my pick four and pick five, it was going to pay 4 times the amount. So I was getting like 2,000 for the pick five, 1,000 for the pick four, all tax free, and the favorite just won. The
Nah,
favorite that I tossed won easily. So, but and
that's
and and a good way to and for me to get back on track is to post on social media that your picks have been trashed that day because I did that, and then all of a sudden I started hitting.
it's definitely a streaky game. When you get hot,
Yeah,
they come
yeah,
in they come in bunches for sure when you're feeling it.
yeah, and
Hopefully today we're gonna get on a hot streak. Got to
yeah,
get it going.
yeah, and my article will be dropping in about 2 minutes, and you'll see what my initial thoughts were last night when I wrote the article, and I will update on my personal X at Joe Quills what the um, what my picks were, and I will also add the double that we have here for the 10th and 11th. So Frank, thank you
All
for
right.
joining me again today. Um,
Yeah, thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
yeah, and I think we are going to have the return of AJ Johnson next week, I believe,
There you go. He's done,
because
done vacationing, traveling the world.
stud duty we called it.
All right. Ah,
but um, but I think AJ Johnson will be back next week because it's Monmouth week and that's his hometown track
yep.
as well. I think that's your hometown track too, right?
Yeah, technically, my brother lives in Monmouth. It's an hour away, but we can get to Belmont in an hour or
Okay.
two. So,
Oh, okay. So
kind of,
you're right in the middle,
yeah, we're like
just
20,
about.
20. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So you know, if the work schedule allowed me to be up at Monmouth, I would consider it, but got to work, got to make that money. So
It seems like it's always the hottest day of the year when Monmouth has that tournament. Like
yeah.
each and every year.
Well,
I think last year was
from
actually good, but a
yeah.
few years before that's always like 100. And I think they even canceled the
Mhm.
racing a couple years back. It was so damn
Yeah,
hot.
they
They didn't start the
canceled
race
all.
till like 3 o'clock. They started. It was crazy.
Yeah, they did they ran the first race. Then they said, "All right, it's too hot." They canceled every non-stakes race, and then they started with the stakes race at 5:30, and then the Haskell was like right at dusk, which in a way it was kind of cool seeing like the shadows and everything, but
Yeah,
you
my
know.
buddies they rented like the picnic area, so they have like all their
Mm.
friends come, and everyone has to pay like $30 per head. And
Mhm.
then the party was kind of like canceled. You had to just chill out and wait till later on that day. But sometimes
Yeah.
Mother Nature doesn't cooperate. We got to do what's best for the horses, so we don't have any
Yeah.
breakdowns.
Yeah, and from what it looks like right now, it looks like the weather will be fine as of right now because it is a week out. It does look like that the heat wave that is hitting the eastern seaboard will break like Wednesday. I know Tuesday in Philadelphia, I was watching the news this morning. They're saying 99 on Tuesday here in Philly.
No,
So,
it's not good, man. I saw 95, and
yeah.
getting tired of the heat already. It's too early in the year for this.
Yeah,
So
I would like to have my air conditioner off for a few days. But Frank, thank you for joining me here today. AJ, we think we'll be back next week because
all right,
Monmouth is his track, and we will catch you next week for another edition of Also Eligible. And hopefully, we gave you guys some winners this week. So have a
enjoy the
great
day.
day,
Enjoy
everybody.
the day, Joey. Thanks for having me, buddy. Appreciate
Thanks,
it.
Frank, and good luck, everybody out there. We'll catch you next
Going to
Saturday morning.
going to put my beer on ice. Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it. Good day, everybody.